guys. We got Scott E. Wrestling from Fight Game Media. He's from Fightful, Voices of Wrestling. I think he works at MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. I saw him on
Thankfully, I
Infowars
do
with
not.
Alex Jones at one point. Hey Scott, man. We
You and
wanted to bring you
Tyrus.
on. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no. All right, I'll see you
Sorry,
guys. Thanks for
guys.
having me.
Let's not start a rumor that Scott was on Fox News. Okay, that would be
Yeah, let's not.
detrimental to his character.
It would be terrible.
I'll
Yeah,
lose every
but
position I have. Please don't do
yeah,
that.
but I wanted to bring on Scott because we got some big news. So it was already announced that Miyu Yamashita is going to be at Multiverse United challenging for the Knockouts title, but she is actually going to be making her debut. Oh, we finally lost JD. She's actually going to be finally making her debut in Impact. Before then, it's actually going to be at Sacrifice against Killer Kelly, man. So tell us a little bit about Yamashita.
Yeah, when the graphic originally popped up, I was in shock for multiple reasons. Maybe it was more so because a TJPW wrestler was going to be on a New Japan show more than anything else. But
Yeah.
this is a dream of hers. Like, this is a legitimate dream of hers. She has wanted to be on an Impact show, and she's finally getting it. Like, this is something she wants to do. I interviewed her for Fightful last week. We talked about it. She's very excited. And the fact that she gets to, wrestle not only the title match, but now this one on an Impact taping, I think it makes it all the more exciting for her. She is one of the top 5 women's wrestlers in the world, no doubt about it, unquestioned. And that's coming from someone that watches all the women's wrestling in the
Yeah,
world.
you see like literally every woman's wrestler out there, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of freaking great ones, and she's
Yeah.
top 5 easy for you.
Yeah, she is. In ring wise, it's hard to match her. If you like kicks, if you like someone that's just badass that might take your head off while doing so, she's the one. She is the one. The fact that they gave her Killer Kelly is an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
I don't imagine the match going long. I think that's I think you have Yamashita beat her quick.
Yeah, Killer Kelly is somebody they want to get behind, but they're going to be building Yamashita to a title shot, and they could probably rebuild Kelly later.
Yeah.
Or I hope they don't do something with interference, because
Yeah.
this
With
is the big
Taylor
debut.
Wilde, right?
I'd hate to see that. And they announced tonight that this match is going to debut next Thursday. When Impact is they're actually going live from Los Angeles, kind of a countdown show from Multiverse United, but they're going to be showing taped matches. So they're going to be in a studio doing like live interviews and live,
cool.
having like a panel. And then they're going to kind of like the old school days that back in the early 90s where they would do live and then they would just kick it to matches.
I like that.
So yeah, so they got Josh Alexander versus Kenta. That was taped from Vegas.
Never
so
gonna say no to that.
Yeah. And then Miyu Yamashita versus Killer Kelly is going to be on that show. And then they said they have a Will Ospreay versus Homicide match.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And I'm like, I don't know where the hell that happened.
Strong?
When it happened. Maybe. I don't know.
Because it happened in Strong.
Well, they said it's never been seen before. So maybe New Japan just held on to the tape for Impact to air it. So they said it's never before seen. So that's what it's looking like next week for Impact. So it's a bit unique, but yeah, man. Yamashita's coming in. Hopefully, man, I'd like to see her stick around a while. I know
she's in the US for 3 months.
Yeah, so
nothing stopping her.
No, they should book her for like every opportunity they get until they have her. And I don't know if this whole Mercedes Moné thing's gonna happen. Like they're teasing it again. They came out this week teasing it again, man. Moné called out Mickey James. And we'll get into it in a second. I know Mickey James is hurt right now, but if they get dates
for that,
yeah. So I have a lot of hope for it too. But if they can't make it happen, I'd like to see this Yamashita kid, get the title. I like just belt her. You know what I mean?
I think giving her a short reign and then maybe dropping it to Slamovich or Grace or whoever, a heel is on the roster would be really cool.
Yeah.
She's currently the, Pro Wrestling Eve in Europe. She currently holds their title. She's also one half of the tag champions in TJPW. And she has like 3 or 4 title matches when she comes to the US. So I think she's going to be starting doing a little belt collector gimmick.
Oh yeah.
which
Nice.
if you want to add the Impact Women's Knockouts World Title to that, I wouldn't say no. I think personally, Impact should go out of their way to just keep booking her because they're tapings, right? So it shouldn't be
Yeah.
too difficult. She has probably like 10 dates already, but with the tapings, I think she'll work around them to get on them because I
Hmm.
think she's as interested as Impact should be. Um, her and Masha Slamovich had a great match in Prestige Wrestling last year when she first came over to the US for the first time. And they have another match in West Coast Pro coming up as well for the West Coast Pro Women's Title. Put that on Impact Television. Put this match on
Yeah.
Impact Television. No one's going to be upset. Trust me. They have the chemistry, and especially by then, if you don't watch indie wrestling, which I'm sure a lot of people don't necessarily watch, it's going to be a fresh new matchup. And Masha's more
Hmm.
heel, of course, in Impact, so I think it would fit. But yeah, I hope
Yeah.
you know how I came on here and talked about Unagi Sayaka.
Hmm.
This is like the uh 10 times better.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And
is
you were
like
pretty
10 times
excited
better.
about Unagi Sayaka whenever
Yeah.
you were talking about her.
Yeah. This I think
Hey,
this is
so
like everything.
so JD's computer died. Do you mind sticking around and talking some news with me before I let you
Yeah.
go?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I'll stick around.
Sorry, man.
No
I'm gonna
worries.
catch you off guard here, but you're just gonna have to talk some news with me. So,
I
due
can
to
do
an
that.
injury, it was just announced right before we went on the air that Mickey James will be unable to compete at Sacrifice. I think she's actually going to Sacrifice, but she can't compete. There's a rumor that it might be a work, but I don't know. That nothing really happened in the match that would make me think that it was an injury. So, but we'll see. Something might be happening with the title tomorrow night at Sacrifice.
Was it last week that they did the what was the story? Like Jordan Grace said, "Are you sure you want to have a match?"
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's a work.
That you know what, and I think that actually makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
she's there. There's a picture of her floating around where she's at the Canadian border with Impact's photographer guy.
Okay.
The guy posted it online. I don't think he knew that there was a story going on, but
No.
so she's gonna be there in Windsor for the show. But we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, but the Jordan Grace thing that actually makes a lot of sense that this would be a work. But if they're going to take the title off of her, maybe they just do a three-way with Jordan Grace, Perazzo, and Giselle Shaw because that match is earlier on that show, and
Yeah.
that would be a good way to crown a new champion while they wait to figure out what's going on with Mickey James.
Is Jordan Grace not booked at all for WrestleMania week?
Is she not on the Multiverse United show?
I think there's only the one women's match, so I'm guessing
You know what?
otherwise.
She's
So.
I think she has her bodybuilding competition during that time.
Oh, what a wild week to have the competition.
Yeah, but this is what she's been training for
Yeah.
forever,
Oh, I mean, she's in incredible shape.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just a little shocked that this is the wrestling weekend. So I feel like
yeah.
if you're gonna make your money, but hey, she seems determined, so good for her.
Yeah. A couple more stories here before I let you go. Motor City Machine Guns resign. Alex Shelley has actually signed his first contract in 5 years. So he is now exclusively signed to Impact Wrestling. But the contract is going to let them work indies. They can do GCW, Prestige, West Coast Pro, and all your favorite indie shows, and New Japan, obviously. They're the New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions, the GCW Tag Team Champions. And now they're exclusive to Impact Wrestling, man. What you think?
What a win for Impact! Like
Yeah.
you want to talk about a win, having a top 5 tag team in the world signed to your roster now officially because
Hmm.
Shelley was free agent for so long. That's the absolute win. Now I just need Impact to let them and the Young Bucks happen one more time. That's all I ask
Yes.
for. I just need to see that one more time. I don't care where, I don't care how it happens.
Well,
That's all I ask.
I think if they did it now, it would be better than what we saw in TNA and what we saw in Ring of Honor because they're all
Yeah,
much better now. They're much smarter now.
yeah,
The Young Bucks have turned into kind of like the Rock and Roll Express, right? Like they
mm,
are like great baby faces, and then they could flip that switch and become the Midnight Express and be great heels. And Motor City Machine Guns are perennial baby faces, but they can work with anybody. Now I really like this because I've been saying for a while that as much as I love the Machine Guns and I never want to see them break up, but I would like to see them do singles for a little bit too, because I think Alex Shelley could be a top guy here.
I
I
think he'd
think
be your top heel.
dude, he did such a great job with Alexander last year with
Yeah.
that Under Siege pay per view they had in Chicago. It was a fantastic match. Like his promos leading up to that match were just top notch. Shelley he can do everything, man. Shelley can fucking go. I love this
Yeah.
guy. I look, if Josh is like, if they're gonna drop the title to somebody, and I have another idea, I think Shelley could be like that heel champion that Impact is looking for.
He's never won the Impact World title, right? Just Saban.
Never. Yep, Saban. Yep.
It's a good story. I mean, I like the idea of him, like, having this underdog story and then cheating to finally win it. You
Yeah.
know, kind of, and then he has this heel run where he's just a dick the whole
Yeah.
time. I think that would be fantastic because his indie work, because he's a completely different wrestler on the indies. He does the
Mm,
heel stuff, and he, like, does limb targeting and stuff like that. He's just so smug because he knows he's that good, and it's like
mhm.
it's kind of like how you guys talk about Matt Cardona and how different he is outside of Impact and how he should be a top heel in Impact. I would like them to, kind of go with Alex Shelley. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll always take the North City Machine Guns. Never
Oh
going to
yeah.
say no to that. But you have two guys that can be singles competitors too, and main event singles competitors.
Yeah, and Shelley was a heel early on, but then as soon as he
Mhm.
hooked up with Saban, they were baby faces. But then Saban was a heel later on as a single. So they both worked heel. I'd kind of like to see them go heel on
Mm.
the American Bullet Club
Yeah.
and do that, and then kind of go their separate ways a little bit, but still be kind of part of the same group. But one challenging for like the world champion Shelley and Saban going after the X title or the digital title or whatever they want to do. I think that would be cool. Like just flip them both heel, because that's the
Yeah.
one thing we haven't seen out of these guys as a team, as a unit, is them
Mm.
being heels and them, taking advantage of the young Bullet Club and beating them down. These handsome little shits, the Ace Austin and Chris Bay, and bloodying those bastards up. I would love to see something like that.
I'm not crazy to think that those two young Bullet Club guys have become like top favorites, right? Like in
Yeah.
Impact, like they absolutely have. So that is a story that would work perfectly. And I always hear you say bloody them up. I would like them to listen to you one time with either with either Steve Macklin
Yeah.
or this, because I think that image one time instead, you're getting your what the hell's the match? The busted open match instead.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
type of blood we got to be using. I think that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And then last thing before I let you go, man. Hiroshi Tanahashi, baby. He is coming back to Impact. Well, kinda. It's an Impact New Japan show. It's a New Japan Strong show with Impact wrestlers on it, essentially. But this is the first time he's been on any type of Impact TV in a very long time. And he is replacing Will Ospreay, who injured his shoulder. So, good luck to Will. Hopefully he recovers soon. But he's going to be taking on Speedball Bailey, man, at Multiverse United.
How can anyone complain about, okay, we lost Will Ospreay. Damn it. Dream match type thing gone. Oh, who's New Japan gonna give us to replace him? Oh, just maybe the greatest of all time. Just
Yeah.
arguably a guy that's in the greatest of all time conversation. You guys were talking about last week. Well, you're not gonna get an Okada, sure, and Tanahashi Naito. Oh, wait, no, you are gonna get Tanahashi because that's the type of guy Tanahashi is. Him and Mike Bailey is such a weird matchup, truthfully, like, because
Yeah.
they're very different. They're also both baby faces. So I'm intrigued to see how they go. Um, but I mean, is it if you're not gonna have Will Ospreay, getting Hiroshi Tanahashi is never a bad thing. And it'll be cool to see him in there with Speedball tossing it up. I'm guessing this won't be the main event anymore if it was going to be, and you put the Impact World title in the main.
So I think that Tanahashi working a match in the States warrants him being in the main event. That but
That's
that
fair.
that's Mike's opinion. I don't think Kushida has a hope in hell of winning that title. I mean, they're already like promoting the next match after that,
Yeah, I
and
saw
there's
that
no
today.
way like he's not winning the Impact title. This is just them doing Impact to Solid and letting Josh Alexander get a win over one of their legendary figures in Kushida. And so I think that you put Tanahashi in the main event. Now the booking here if I would have known I had Tanahashi already, I would have booked him against somebody like Eddie, like a heel, like Eddie, right?
Yeah,
Eddie Edwards, or somebody like Moose, like a heel that he could work off of. Because Bailey is a great underneath baby face. That's why I was looking so much forward to that Osprey match, because Osprey is that bigger. He's like 6'2", but compared to Bailey, he's so much bigger. He would have been like that bully type heel. So this changes the dynamic. This is going to be more of a sports dynamic. But Tanahashi is such a good baby face. It's going to be really interesting to see how they pull this match off. But I don't know. My opinion is Tanahashi. You get Tanahashi in Impact, he's the main event. You got to do that.
that's definitely fair. Right. My favorite part of all this is like they could have had Tanahashi on the show this whole time. They just no one thought that would be a cool idea just to have like him and Osprey on this big show. Like the
Well,
moment Osprey
yeah,
goes down, he's like, "Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there."
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Like
you know I think if it were up to Impact and Rocky
they
and
would have had
Romero,
him.
they would have had Tanahashi the whole time. But you take what you can get from New Japan proper, and they gave you Will Ospreay. You're probably not going to complain about it too much. But hey, look, now that they've opened the door to Tanahashi, come on, man, let's get him in this on these shows. Get rid of the witchcraft bullshit we've been seeing. Let's bring over Tanahashi. I'd like to see him and
Yeah,
Josh Alexander swap the belt a couple of times.
I actually wanted to ask you a question about that. And by the way, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, I think if you can have Tanahashi in any form at any time, you never say no.
No,
I don't care if you have. By the way, you don't job him out either. I just want to point that out. You do
no,
not job out
no.
Hiroshi Tanahashi, and I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they know who he is and what he means, even at his age. But I wanted to ask you about this. Have you watched any of the Ring of Honor TV show?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, I wanted to. Oh, I guess if JD was here, maybe you can ask him in the
JD's
future.
been watching. Yeah.
Because I've watched it and I think Impact could do that version of TV better, which is pretty much what they do good. What Impact
Right.
does great
Yeah.
without the witchy bullcrap. And I'm like,
Right.
why doesn't Impact just do this? And
Yeah.
it's like shows like Multiverse United, and I understand there's a lot of New Japan influence on it, but there's a lot of New Japan influence on their TV every week,
Hmm.
right? So why don't they just like
So
be a wrestling show and not a sports entertainment show too?
they really have struggled to maintain an identity, because
Yeah.
they can do like the cool angles like they did with PCO and Eddie Edwards last
Yeah.
week. That was very
That's
well
good.
done, right?
Yeah.
That was a good angle. They can do great matches, just like we saw last week, and then we saw this week, the opening match this week, with Time Machines versus the Design. It was actually a really good match. They can do cool promo segments. So that's pro wrestling. I put that in the pro wrestling
I
bucket,
agree.
like hot angles, cool matches, cool promos. That's pro wrestling bucket. And then they feel the need to get this community theater comedy horseshit with Dirty Dango and Santino Morella. And then they want to
Yeah.
bring in this fourth dimension like undead realm horseshit, and they want to bring that into it. What they're trying to do is they're trying to appeal to all of these different segments of the population, but what they don't understand is that certain segments are canceling each other out, right?
Right.
And I think the bad comedy and the bad horror is driving away more people than it's bringing in.
Mhm.
And maybe they have metrics that disprove that, and that's why they've been doing it for so long.
Sure.
I just feel like with the people that I talk to, like that is a barrier of entry for them the longer they keep doing this stuff. And they just don't seem to get it, or they feel differently. Clearly, they
Yeah.
feel like it is working and that it is something that they can make money with. And not to say that they can't have like these darker characters and comedy characters. I think Rosemary is a great character. She's worked. I think Crazy Steve's a great character. Black Taurus obviously is awesome.
Well, yeah.
And Johnny Swinger is hilarious, and Zicky Dice is hilarious. So it's like I'm not saying you can't do darker stuff and you can't do comedy. I just want you to do it well. So
I
right,
agree.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
difficult because like it's subjective. Like what is good to you might not be good to somebody else. But
Yeah. I think the reason I thought of that is like I saw like, guys like the Kingdom who are obviously there and a bunch of these Ring of Honor guys that pretty much did nothing for over a year, waiting
yeah,
for like maybe they were all under some sort of agreement for the returning Ring of Honor. That could be it. But I was just sitting there watching it and I said, this is what Impact could be. This is what
yeah,
Impact was last year
yeah. That's what it
in a
was.
lot of ways. And it's just
Yeah,
like I understand trying to be different. I do, because every show nowadays has good wrestling. That's just
Yeah.
just the truth. But being different doesn't mean you have to be bad.
Yes. Yes.
Right? You don't need
Yeah.
witchcraft. You don't
Right.
need you don't need Tommy Dreamer.
Hmm.
You can have like you guys, I think, perfectly kind of sum up how I feel about Bully Ray. It's that you don't need to see him, but at least he's a good promo and does the right things. Just don't have him in the main event, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's how I feel about all legends, pretty much. Like you guys were talking about Goldberg before I jumped in here. That's kind of how I felt about Goldberg when he's in WWE. I don't give a shit if he's around. Just don't have
Yeah.
him in the world title picture. And
Yeah.
like, you know, now bringing in Tanahashi, would I give him a world title match tomorrow? Yeah, I would.
Oh
So maybe,
shit, yeah. But Tanahashi can still go, baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so and I'll say this and then I'll go ahead and let you go. So my thing about Tanahashi is, because they have the synergy with New Japan and they have the
Mm,
Access show right after Impact,
mhm.
Tanahashi could win the title, take it back to Japan, defend it there, and then you could air those matches on Access. So like he beats Josh here, takes title back to Japan, defends it a few times, comes back here to drop it, or Josh can go there and take the title, however they want to do
Yeah,
it. I think there's a little bit of money in that. There's some business there to be had.
yeah, I
And
agree.
I would suggest that they do not a long one, but look, Tanahashi is in the twilight of his career. And he's had every title multiple times in New Japan. It'd be kind of cool to see him with an American title.
It would kind of be like giving Kenny Omega the Impact World Championship in a
Yes.
lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before I leave, I just want to say like that one is a great idea. But I think having Tanahashi on the show, he'll have the eye for talent to tell a Gato or someone like, hey, maybe this guy should be in the G1. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping he sees Speedball and they're like, let's put him in the best of Super Juniors. See
Uh,
Alexander, put him in G1.
I'm predicting the Speedball will be in the best of the Super Juniors this year. Ace was in it last year, and then Ace and Bay were in the junior tag. I think that they're
They're
going to
great.
push Speedball for that this year.
It's a good spot. I think that's probably why they have the Osprey match, truthfully. So you're probably
Yeah.
right.
Yep. All right, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and JD's computer died. He just texted me he is not coming back, so I'm gonna go ahead and recap the Impact show. I'm gonna go solo on that ass, man.
All
But hey,
right, man.
Scotty, thank you for joining me, brother.
Of course. Have a good one, man. Have a good trip, by the way.
Yes, sir.
So
All right, that was a Scott E Wrestling, man, a legend in this business. I love Scott. He educates me every time he comes on. But yeah, hey guys, sorry, JD, his computer died, so he is not coming back. So I am gonna go solo on that ass, and I'm gonna go ahead and kick out the rest of the show. So on BTI, Trey Miguel defeated Kevin Knight. This is a match that I will watch, but the gimmick has to stay. And that was Talking BTI. Thank you, folks. Thank you for talking BTI. Hey, look, they're really trying to get me in on this BTI by putting Kevin Knight. I'm really impressed by this guy. And then, of course, Trey Miguel is super fantastic. Now we go to the main show. The show opened with the Design making their entrance for the 6-man tag on the Go Home show for Impact Sacrifice, which is coming up tomorrow night. Stay tuned to patreon.com/fightgamemedia for my solo review of Sacrifice's coming up weekend. Opening match is Time Machine, Saban, Shelley, and Kushida defeating the Design. This match started off not that good, mainly because I don't give a fuck about the Design. But eventually they kicked into another gear, man, and it was a really, really good match. I like the ending. I don't really care for the Callahan story, but Kushida came in and got the hoverboard lock on Allen Angels and tapped him out. Good stuff here. And then as the Design went up the ramp, Callahan was assuring Dieter that he tried to protect them. So there you go. Kylan King and Taylor Wilde, they did a backstage skit, all kinds of darky stuff. Bad. It was really bad. They did some stuff and then it was over. Anyway, moving on. Champagne Singh had a promo about his winnings at the casino. So there you go. And then Eddie Edwards and man, lots of backstage stuff. Eddie Edwards and Kenny King were backstage and talked about how it was Jay Briscoe's funeral when they were at the Briscoe home is where they reconciled after Honor No More fell apart. King claimed he was going to help Edwards put PCO on ice. Yeah, it's kind of weird to bring up the Briscoe thing. I'm not that bothered by it because they didn't say anything disrespectful. But Kenny King said he's getting the real PCO. He's putting Carl out. So I like this. A PCO takes on Kenny King at Sacrifice. Next up, Deonna Purrazzo defeated Savannah Evans. So this was a decent match. Purrazzo is becoming a babyface here, and I like this. And Evans was kind of the big monster, and they had lots of interference and stuff like that. But I thought it was good, and I thought Purrazzo specifically looked pretty good here. After Purrazzo blocked a full Nelson slam, got distracted by Shaw. But when she went for a heat seeker power driver, Vidal grabbed Purrazzo, but she dodged a kick from Evans and hit a crucifix driver for the pinfall. Shaw and crew attacked Purrazzo after the bell, with Evans hitting a full Nelson slam and Shaw hitting a running knee on Purrazzo. So they're building up that match coming up at the Sacrifice. Okay, so this is where it gets really, really bad. So the Death Dolls were backstage, and they talked about how upset they were about losing the tag titles. And Jessica talked about how she was going to go after the Coven right now to get her magic. Jessica found a casket just randomly in the backstage area. And then she opened it up, and a bright light came out of it. And Valkyrie slammed the casket shut, saying it was dangerous to mess with magic. And she's probably right about that. And as they were talking, a hand reached out of the casket and pulled Valkyrie inside, writing her off of the show since she went to AEW. This was terrible. So terrible that my friend Josiah, who does the recaps for the Wrestling Observer, he wrote a poem about this. Taya got eaten by a casket. How odd and strange is that? Impact thinks it's compelling, but I just think it's crap. That's a beautiful poem, Josiah. Thank you for writing a poem about this. And I would like to say that yes, it was crap. Look, if you're gonna, they should have just chopped her head off. That's what I wanted them to do. Just cut her fucking head off. Blood squirting everywhere. Like, if you're gonna do horror, go all the way with it, man. Don't do half-ass it. All right. But look, it's over kind of a dumb way. Afterwards, Taya Valkyrie took to Instagram or Twitter or whatever and thanked Impact Wrestling for everything. But yeah, she's all in on AEW. So there you go. Next, we got Bully Ray and Masha Slamovich defeating Tommy Dreamer and Mickey James. Yeah, you know what? Look, I expected this to be way worse than what it was, but this was a fun match. And this was like the match that the crowd got into the most. Like, they were really into this stuff. So look, hey, what the hell do I know? Like, the people in the audience loved it, but they like the legends and they like tables. But so at one point, Dreamer hit a wishbone split, and James hit the old Team 3D headbutt to the lower regions on Bully Ray. Dreamer and James got a table out from under the ring, leading to Slamovich hitting a dive on James. Ray hit a low blow on Dreamer and then a power driver for the 3 count. So there you go. And apparently, I think they're going to do a story where this is, after the match, Slamovich had ideas for further punishment for James, asking Bully Ray to power bomber through a table. Jordan Grace ran down and hit Ray with a kendo stick to break it up, but Ray dodged when Grace went for a spear, resulting in Grace hitting James by accident. I think this is going to be the injury that they're talking about. Kazarian was backstage giving advice to Rich Swann, saying that if it was bothering him, something was bothering Swann. Swann was bothered by the fact that he thought Josh Alexander thought that he wasn't worth a title shot and not being his real friend. Whatever. This was stupid. And then they cut to Macklin, who was in Alexander's locker room, and then Swann found him going through Alexander's bag. I don't know. What the hell are we doing? Swann stopped him, and Macklin claimed that Alexander knew about it. Yep. Look, these guys are supposed to be fighting for a title, and like they got Macklin being like a peeping Tom. What are we doing? He should be kicking people's asses. Instead, he's going through Josh Alexander's bag. This is just bad television, guys. Get your shit together. Joe Hendry came down to the ring with Dirty Dango and cut a promo with Dango talking over Hendry, which seemed to be off-putting for him. Hendry said that there was only 2 words to say that we believe, but Dango yelled, "Suck it." Hendry said that he appreciated the enthusiasm. Moose and Brian Myers defeated Joe Hendry and Dango. What a waste, man. Like, this was, a nothing happening match. It's just comedy for the sake of comedy. I just and I like Joe Hendry. I like Myers, I like Moose. I don't really care for Dango. But this was just a waste of time, and I really don't even want to recap it. Rich Swann, dumbest babyface in the history of wrestling, so as he believed Macklin about Alexander, asking him go through his stuff. Alexander had no idea what Swann was talking about, So he said he'd handle it in the ring. And then Alexander came out to the ring and respected Macklin for his ability and his service to the U.S. Alexander then claimed Macklin was afraid of him, waiting for others to wear him down, that if he lost, he would be a soldier without a mission and a forgotten son. That was a great line. Macklin came out and admitted that Alexander was right. He was afraid of failing. He was afraid of waiting. He was waiting for the right opportunity to challenge for the title. He said that he could have challenged him whenever Bobby Fish did. He could have challenged him whenever Speedball did, but he was waiting for his moment, and his moment is now or at Rebellion. And then he said that he's been scouting him for a year, and they actually cut the footage of him scouting Alexander for the year. They actually had dates on it with him watching Alexander matches from behind the curtain for the last year, and I thought that was kind of a cool touch. I know wrestlers don't really don't scout people that way. They have tape now, but he's old school. He's a Marine. He was doing some recon. Excuse me. So I really dug that. Alexander said he was the fighting champion. He's willing to fight Macklin right now if he was ready. Macklin said no, saying that he was going to do it his way and he was going to beat Alexander in his hometown at Rebellion. And then the show went off the air with Alexander and Macklin staring at each other. This was not a good episode. I like the closing segment and I like the opening match, and everything in between was just okay to bad. Man, Impact has really just had a down year. It's really depressing, man. It's getting to the point where reviewing these shows just aren't that fun anymore, but we're going to keep doing it, man, in hopes, because we know that these guys can do good. And I hope this Sacrifice is a good show tomorrow. I was originally going to recap Sacrifice or preview Sacrifice, but JD's not here, so we'll go ahead and call it a show for now. But final thoughts. Not a very good show. It's not really, like, the last 2 months have not been a whole lot of fun covering Impact. But we're going to keep doing it, man, because I still believe that this company can turn things around, because I've seen them do really good shit, and they've done a lot of good stuff since I started covering them back in 2018. So I hope they start righting the ship starting tomorrow night at Sacrifice. So, hey, everybody, until next week, mahalo.